So what I want to talk about today is the experiences we've had in the Jahia cloud since we moved to the hosting solution and how that's helped our results as an organization and as a site. So first of all, our mission, we're founded in 1908. We just celebrated our centennial a few years ago. NGA is the collective voice of the U.S. governors and one of Washington, D.C.'s most respected public policy organizations. Our members are the governors of the 55 states, that's our 50 states and 5 territories. We support every state and every territory, whether they're a dues-paying member or not, and especially the website is for everyone. That's our public information. Here's the current site, which we had redesigned in 2010 and launched exactly 4 years ago. So we've been a Jahia customer for almost 5 years now since we were doing the planning in 2010. As you can see from our layout, we're a pretty simple organization. We have 2 main areas of concentration. Our Center for Best Practices is a think tank, is a research portion of our organization. Federal Relations does our relations with Congress. So we represent the state's issues to our Congress in DC. And we're located right at the base of Capitol Hill in Washington, DC. Another big area of our site, which we're going to touch on later, is our governor's area, which is where we provide the public with tons of information, biographies, election information, things like that for the general public. The site right now, we're kind of a medium-sized site. For a small organization, we're about 100 employees. And technically only 55 members. But our site right now is roughly about 10,000 pages and files. So we've got a lot of stuff on there dating back a long time. A little bit of our history with Jahia and with our implementation partners who are now rolled into Jahia, which is great. Back in 2009, we had an old site on a CMS, not to be named, that we were having a lot of problems with an upgrade to their latest platform, and we contacted Piyush Patel to help us out and get us stable in that old environment, in our old design, in an antiquated site, with then a look to what we were going to do in the future. And that future, through a selection process, turned out to be Jahia, and a massive redesign and a reorganization of all of our content. Back in 2009, the software we were on there was causing a lot of downtime. The site was not performing the way it should. Our partners back then helped that situation, and then, of course, we moved to Jahia during 2010. And we also selected the cloud hosting solution as well back then. Our goal was to, of course, the number one goal was to increase reliability, to increase, or decrease the time we were spending maintaining the site so we could increase our time working on our content management. And with Jahia, we also loved the simple to interact with WYSIWYG system that would help our non-technical staff members be able to contribute to the system. So, and then in 2012, we moved up to 6.6, and that's just been terrific for the last 3 years. I mean, we've been incredibly reliable. Everything has run smoothly. We've barely had to interact with our support staff, our support team, because everything has just run smoothly. And then another thing I'll touch on later later this year, we're going to go right to 7.1 is the plan right now, and then finally we'll get a mobile responsive site. So we had questions back in 2010 when we were going through the process. The normal questions that you're going to have when you're also going to pick a hosting solution. Will our data be secure? Will we have the uptime that we need? How will we handle disaster recovery? And these are things that our partner was able to explain, and we determined that there were actually going to be improvements from our local hosting solution to putting it in the cloud, where we'll have a lot more resources to maintain the site and keep it durable. So then in 2010, when we were doing our transition that turned into the site launch in July of 2011, the benefits of our new Jahia system were immediate. The site was so much better organized. It was so much easier for our content editors to enter content and maintain it. The big benefit was all the server administration and all the back and forth with tech support was gone, and we were able to really focus on the actual website, which was great. As soon as we switched over to the site, in slides that I'll show you later, we discovered that our views and our users through analytics were increasing year on year. So I'll touch on that in a bit too. Another advantage, which is pretty obvious, is that we now just have the one bill from Jahia. It's one payment plan and easier for our accounting department. And as a nonprofit, accounting can be kind of tricky. So any easiness on that front is nice to have. Performance, as I mentioned, it's been running excellent. The site has such a minimal amount of downtime, and if there is something, a quick restart, we just reach out, file a ticket with our support partners. The site's back up and running in no time, and we have minimal downtime. One stat that Pushas loved is I jogged my memory, and my boss, our CIO, did as well, and I think we've rebooted once in the last 12 months. So the site has been running flawlessly lately. Yeah. Thanks to you guys. Okay, results. As I mentioned at the start, the real point of this presentation is to look into what this has meant for us with the last 3 or 4 years of increased stability, of better performance on the site, and the stability of the Jahia Cloud solution and the Jahia CMS have led to traffic gains. And the structure of the CMS, the way it's so content-based, in our old system, it was a mess, and it didn't, the keywording and the metadata just didn't add up in analytics, and our Google traffic was down. With the new structure, things have ramped way up. So the site is now well indexed in Google, and we're seeing those results every day. So here's a rough graph of how our traffic has improved since 2011. In the early part of 2011, we were still on our old platform. Then the switch into Jahia, and as you can see, it's been a great linear increase until the spring of this year. And year on year, we're from 2011 to 2015, our audience has grown by about 100%. So that's been a real positive for us. And yeah, I've checked on that traffic, and no, it's not all bots. In fact, the bots are only about less than 1%. So. And you can see the direct correlation with our general traffic gains to our Google traffic gains. Again, from 2011 to 2015, we're up about 133% on monthly Google visitors. So that's been a real positive, and I think it's no accident because The site is so much better organized. We are able to concentrate on SEO. We are able to concentrate on our content management, and the stability of the platform leads us to just, I've not messed with the site much at all because I want to keep our static content where it is so that it can, for lack of a better word, it kind of marinates in Google, and we keep it going, and the results have been there. And people are going to Google and finding some of our older information. So even though, one issue I have as the manager of the site and managing the content is sometimes we go through kind of lackluster periods. It can be 3 or 4 months where we just don't get a lot of fresh and exciting content. But the improvements to the SEO mean that more people are looking at old content. So that's been a big plus. So here's an example of one important part of our site, which is the database that holds all of our historical information on our governors. And this is actually only a small part of the form. It's like 3 times as long. There's everything you'd ever need to know about a former governor. I just picked at random a particularly famous one, President Clinton. But we, in our old system, this form for the database was a little bit of a mess. It was cleaned up, much better organized. We spent a lot of time designing this and making sure that it was not only easy for myself and my fellow developer to maintain, but we wanted to give access to everyone in the organization and some of our content editing staff to be able to use this form easily too. And it's funny, one of the ironies of us switching to Jahia is that we wanted to have this great WYSIWYG where it's easy for non-tech staff to enter content. But since it's actually so easy and so straightforward, myself and my co-developer have a lot more time to work on the site, so we don't need that help from the rest of our non-IT staff because we basically just do it all of ourselves because we don't have a ton of content. And I think the gentleman from the presentation earlier was also saying that on their huge sales site, that they also only have about 2 or 3 content editors as well, managing thousands and thousands of pages. And we're the same way. We have about 10,000 files, and we have 2,400 governors in our database that we're updating on our own every day. I use the governor's site or the governor's portion of the site because this is our most popular area for the general public. At NGA, sometimes we can get, my coworkers can get a little too focused on the states and the governors themselves and some policy experts and things like that. It can get, a little bit small market. So I try and think of my job is to try and market our website to the general public because it is all public information. It's information that the general public does come and find. So our audience is vast, even though we have 55 members. And the one area of the site that people really like to come to is to look at the distinctive primary source information that we have on the governors. And since our results from Google have been so much better in the last 4 years, you notice that most in the sort of most publicly accessible area of the site, and that's our governor's biographies and particularly our election information. You'll see, we had a big election last year in November, and we're a great primary source, a collected source of information on our gubernatorial elections, and I think we had about 20 or 25 last year, and November, the day after the election, was our biggest traffic day in about 5 or 6 years. So you can see that in the gains for that particular month. I actually worked this up while I was here. So these are actually French results, but if you Google governors or governor in the US, we'll be first or second. But over here, we're still in the top 6, which I thought was pretty cool. So people are, and you'll see if you Google governors, you're going to get to our governor section, and that's where people look around for information. So, and Wikipedia, they're above us most of the time with a little bit bigger market share. And then the governor's ball, which just happened last weekend. So, I think we'll be back to third and fourth in France next week. So, okay, more results. Less downtime, less technical server-side administration equals more time for content management and site improvements. It's so much easier now for me to organize my day, for my boss to worry about bigger hardware and software products and projects and not have to be in the server room or on the phone with our partners. So I have a lot of time to actually work on the site. That's helped me improve SEO. That's helped me work with my colleague to get better organized content on the site. And it's also helped us this year, since we've been so stable the last 12 months, it's time to finally look forward to another Jahia upgrade and to really finally, probably 4 or 5 years overdue, getting the mobile responsive site that we need. So we're going to take care of that this year. So another benefit that we've found with Jahia is that we have a better staff distribution ratio in IT. Without having to worry about the server side, we outsource that to a company that's better at it, frankly, and has the resources to support it 24/7. We have more time internally to take a look at other things. And since we moved the site in 2011, we used to have a full-time network administrator, a highly paid position, super well qualified. And when that person left, we had discussions internally, and we just haven't filled the position. So we have not had an on-site network administrator because of so much cloud migration with Jahia, which is a huge help, but also with some of our other stuff, with our mail system, with our portal, other things like that we've had more money in our budget because we have less administration in-house. Natural to any IT environment, there's going to be turnover. We have a lot of turnover in most industries, other than the federal government in DC, because a lot of young people come in, they're on the go, they're constantly moving upward, onward. So we've lost a couple key developers in our department, and what I've found is after the switch to Jahia, we have a much easier up-to-speed time with our new employees. I've been really so pleasantly surprised at how quick I can train our new employees, whether it's my co-developer or our non-IT staff. I just trained someone on how to use another one of our databases the other day before I came over, and this is a young person who is tech adept, but doesn't work in IT. I trained her on how to get that database up, edited and add new features to it in probably about 10, 12 minutes. It's just great to have so much stuff clearly laid out for non-IT staff that it's really simple for them to contribute to the site, which is great. And that also goes for my co-developer as well, who has a lot to learn when you're on the site. You have to learn the organization. You have to learn how to manage the content. And through Jahia, you're actually learning more about our association with the visual formatting as you learn the system. So, and without having to worry about that hosting side and worry about the reliability of the site, there's more time for our developers to learn more about the organization and learn more about the content. So again, moving forward, we'll make some adjustments to the server and the OS, and we'll get started on Jahia 7.1. I'm really looking forward to the new features there. I wish that we were an organization that had the scope to use all of the really great stuff that we've been looking at all week, but really, we're pretty pretty straightforward and static site without a lot of workflow problems. So, but the move to 7.1, which I've already learned a lot about, is going to be great for us. And then most importantly, we'll finally get our mobile responsive site, which, in very Washingtonian terms, we've been dragging our feet on for no good reason. But my bosses are finally fully behind it, and we'll be working with Jahia to come up with a great bootstrap mobile responsive site that, as you'll see here, is very much necessary. Now, that, as was said yesterday, the global mobile share right now is about 45%. We're under that. We're about 27% on phone and about 9% on tablet. Washington is still pretty conservative laptop and desktop environment. I guess that's one reason. But another reason is we're not offering our mobile users the product that they deserve. So, we need to get mobile, and I'm sure that 27%, especially with so many people on the go looking at our content, I think that's going to go up, and our mobile share is probably going to get closer to that 45% when we've implemented the site. So that's our story in a nutshell. Things have gone really well, and we're really looking forward to a bright future with Jahia, as the last 4 years have been great. I thank all of you guys for this opportunity. This has been a terrific 2 days, learning so much more about the company, putting names to faces, or faces to names, vice versa, has been great. I'd like to thank Piyush and Dharmesh and Sajid. Their work over the last 5+ years has been terrific. And like I said, we're looking forward to even better times ahead. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me anytime. And if you have more technical questions, then get in touch with our Jahia guys. So thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Kevin.